Hello everyone. Welcome back to Sustainable Living with Shilpa Reddy, powered by Planet Green Farm Natura, a new beginning to your life. On this episode of Sustain Cart One Sustainable Change, where I will interact with this vibrant and relentless woman who walks her talk, fondly known as Worm Rani. Vani Murthy Garu, who will talk about the simple changes that each one of us could incorporate into our lifestyles. We hope to stand as a guide for those who chose to tune towards sustainable life choices. This episode is brought to you by Sustain Cart. For all these episodes, I have made a conscious change to repeat and restyle all my outfits that I have worn many times before. Welcome back to my show once again, Vani Garu.
Thank you, Shilpa.
We have spoken about so many topics in the last few months. Today is the most important topic, and every household can make a difference. Last season, when I had an interview with you, you mentioned that 1 ton of paper can save 17 trees. That's a huge number. Today I want to ask you, and I want you to help people understand how to limit the usage of paper in your households, what kind of paper can be recycled, and where to recycle. Can you please throw some light on that?
Yeah, this is extremely important because it is true that if we could recycle 1 ton of used paper, every bit of paper, we do save 17 trees from being felled to make paper. So recycling is important, but how recycling also how you collect and how you send. If you put it in mixed waste, it cannot be recycled.
Okay.
So first of all, reduce has to be the first part, even before we manage what we generate.
Correct.
So to reduce paper, we can refuse a lot of things that we don't need in the paper form. Right from packaging, we don't have to print out things if we could send it by digital media. So many things, and at home also, if we have to buy some magazines and newspapers, we can cut that down because today we have an age where we can read them all on a digital platform.
Correct.
There are e-books which we can buy some books on that. And Kindle, exactly. I was trying to get that name. So Kindle is one. So I think reduction of paper very consciously, because we don't realize that even when we print some document, on the other side is like an empty side.
Right.
And if we could print on that also, or use it after it's later on for some other purpose, so that we don't throw away.
That. You won't believe when I had my design studio, all the paper from home, and I haven't bought any paper for my studio for more than 5 years because all my sketching used to happen on the empty side of the documents we used to have and generate at home.
Right.
So what you said is right. Always try to use the second empty side of the paper. Yeah.
So and also if we could collect all our dry waste, that is every bit of paper, plastic, metal, glass, separately and send it to the recyclers. The thing is, there are aggregators. You see rag pickers on the road,
right,
picking paper from dumps. Right. In the corner of a street or anything. What they're looking for is a valuable paper that has been thrown, which could earn them their bread and butter. Okay. So it's so if we could just keep them separate and then send it to collectors who collect them, aggregate them, and send it to the recyclers. That chain is what we need to establish in every place we live. Right. So every household collects it for a week or a fortnight, finds out who are the people who pick up paper or whom we can go and drop off at. So we could take that extra effort to drop it off to a collection center so that that precious resource can be recycled. Right. So recycling also is very messy if it is mixed. Correct. So it is on us, our responsibility to keep it separately, clean and neat, not mix it with other things that will contaminate the paper, and it's of no use.
Exactly.
It will just get trashed.
So you suggest that everyone has like a different bag or something that they collect. Yes. Dry paper only.
Yes. So in Bangalore, we have, it is mandated that we segregate our waste at source. So we put it into different bins. We have the 2 bin, 1 bag as a concept for segregation. Okay. The 2 bins are the green bin and the red bin, which is the organic waste and the reject waste. And the bag is for all recyclables, right from every bit of paper.
Cardboards.
Cardboards.
Cartons.
So today we are all like, online, Amazon Amazons and your Flipkarts and all. So much of packaging comes. All of that is good cardboard which can go back for recycling. So if that could be collected and kept, and then sent to a aggregator, then we are doing our bit, to
But
save
I
paper.
remember once I tried to, kind of put all the papers along with my newspapers. The person who took my papers, they said this is of no use.
Yeah.
So do we have different people who can collect those tiny pieces of paper as well?
Yeah, exactly. It is basically you're looking at the kabadiwala or the raddiwala who has a small space.
Correct.
So he would collect newspapers, magazines, old notebooks, but
Okay.
he will not collect every bit of paper,
That's
which he
right.
cannot store and aggregate. So it is in Bangalore we have dry waste collection centers, which
Okay.
is mandated for every ward, and these are run by waste pickers themselves. We call them waste managers. You dignify the work they do because they do a fantastic job because they are the people who originally understand there is value in waste. Once we throw, we don't care what happens to it,
Correct.
but they are the ones who recognize. So they are in these centers, they manage it. So all our dry waste which is recyclable goes there.
Okay.
They further sort it into different categories because in
Oh.
paper also you have different categories. In
Correct.
plastic you have different categories, and then they bale it and they aggregate it so that the recycler will not come for small amounts. He'll come if you have 1 ton. If you have 1
Okay.
ton of paper to be recycled, he will come and pick it up. So you need to have enough space. So the government helps us set up these dry waste collection centers
Okay.
where there are people who are sorting it and baling it,
Wow.
and makes it easy. So we need to create chains where we divert waste from getting mixed and getting lost. These are resources that are getting
Resources.
lost. So basic, if that understanding comes into people, then I think they will look at every bit of paper as precious,
That's so
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
And there's a lot of confusion as to what paper is recyclable, what is not. Can you talk about that?
A good plain paper is recyclable, but if anything that has multi-layer, the paper which has a coating of plastic, like packaging which comes in with a coat of plastic,
Right.
that cannot be recycled because two materials, it's a multi-layer material which cannot be separated.
Separated,
So
huh.
the plastic guy does not want it, nor the paper recycling guy.
Correct.
So it just ends up in the trash. So we need to be looking at what kind. The thing is, we have to be conscious of, we always think paper is biodegradable, it's okay. Like a paper cup, people use paper cup in so many ways, it's so easy to give a welcome drink in a paper cup. But paper cup is not paper. People think it is just paper, it's biodegradable, so we're not using plastic. But if I put it in my compost bin and the paper got degraded, but there was a lining of plastic in between. So we need to be very mindful of this multi-layer. Packaging which comes in different forms, even plates, you think it's a paper plate and biodegradable, but
Yeah, there's a thin
ultimately,
layer of plastic.
ultimately the whole focus should be, nothing should be single use and discard.
Okay.
Like you said, you're using a paper multiple times for your design
Right.
on the other side, so we need to extend its life so that and then send it to recyclers so that it reaches the right person. You can't give anybody and everybody.
Right, yeah. And also even magazines. This is a confession, but at one point, every month I used to buy like 7 fashion magazines.
Okay.
And later, my dear friend Amla Garu said, like, photo finish paper is of no use.
Yes.
You cannot recycle it. I was so guilty. Then there's an e-magazine app. I have magazines from last 5 years. I can go back and read them again. It's still in my pile, but absolutely no wastage of paper. So I think digital magazines, digital books, Kindle are great
Right.
options to save lots of paper that cannot be recycled.
Right. Yeah, the glossy, magazines.
Glossy magazines.
Definitely. Anything that's glossy is a little scary because they are multi-layer and,
Right.
you can't recycle them. So there's
And,
no point in generating them at all.
Correct. So that's households. From your point of view, how can the existing businesses, try and reduce their usage or, like innovatively change their design to save paper?
Yeah, I don't have much experience with businesses, but then I think any office stationery, they can reduce. Now everything has gone digital,
Right.
so it can be sent through, your WhatsApp or through your email,
Right.
and reduce the amount of printed paper that you generate. And of course, there could be filing also. They could try different kinds so that they don't
Oh, the
use the plastic,
plastic,
yes,
yeah,
in the filing.
exactly, filing.
Yeah, I mean, if you start looking at it, you will find ways to change things that you were not aware before.
Right.
So the whole focus has to be what happens to the paper.
Right.
You know, we are just growing trees to cut down to make paper again. So the whole chain we have to understand what's
Also,
happening.
maybe the labeling can be more
Yeah.
paper
And
without
it's very polluting also. Paper industry is not, it uses a lot of water.
Water.
So
Yeah,
again,
exactly.
when you look at sustainability, the best is not to, use as the
So
paper
much.
in so much, numbers.
Again, e-invites, and I think with the bank statements, if you request the bank, they will send it to you over
Right,
an email.
right.
So making that conscious
Yeah,
effort.
yeah.
And stationery, especially for school children. Now we have cardboard pencils, which is amazing. You don't
Yeah.
have to use the wood
Right.
to make pencils. I think I personally, in my office also, I brought refills. No more people can buy pen, and then once the ink is over, they just,
Change the refill.
yeah, it was not there before.
It used to be like that, but then afterwards it was like use and throw pens.
Correct, yeah.
People were just using and throwing.
So I think those little changes would make a
Yeah,
difference.
yeah.
And even pencil boxes that we buy for our children is all plastic. We can always choose metal
Yeah.
pencil boxes. And
Those days we used to get that Nataraj pencil boxes,
Exactly.
which were all metal. I
Correct.
still have an old one from my husband's times.
Oh, really?
It's like an antique thing, I keep
Okay.
showing my children, see, yeah, he has preserved this.
Right. So yeah, stationery also, I think there's so many companies are also using upcycled paper to make notebooks.
Right.
Investing in that also might be a good idea.
Right.
And book covers, I think when you cover your books with brown paper, it started off being just brown paper,
Yes.
but then now again they're layering it with plastic, which is
Right.
really not necessary, is what I feel.
Right. We used to get this, even the stickers that you put on the school books.
The labels.
It used to be paper, plain paper.
Correct.
We used to put some, gum and then stick. Now you get those things that you can pull off and put, and they have a lot of plastic in it.
Correct.
So I think, and also for me, I have shifted away from using, for any notes that I have to write, it's all pencil in my diary, or if I have to write down a list of things that I need to order or something like that, it's always pencil.
Pencil.
The paper pencil that you said,
Correct.
the cardboard pencils.
Right.
So, on my part, I'm just trying to shift away from using these, ball pens.
So I think if you see there are options for everything. It's just that little thought and conscious thought is missing. Responsibility,
Right.
Understanding where it's going,
Yeah.
how the resources are being wasted.
Yeah, we used to get in my house 4 to 5 newspapers every day.
Oh, wow.
Before COVID, and for COVID we stopped the papers.
Okay.
Because they were saying in the beginning when it started, they said touch. So every time you have to sanitize and take it, and we said we'll just stop it.
Okay.
And then that became a habit. My husband was reading it on. So now we get only one newspaper.
Okay.
Yeah. So because he's so used to having a newspaper, he said, I
Right.
don't want to lose that. So from four or five, we come down to one.
That's
So
a,
that's
that
a huge
itself is
reduction.
huge reduction. Yeah. Yeah, there are options. It's just that a little bit of thought has to go into how to save every resource that we use.
Absolutely.
That was beautiful. Thank you so much, Vani Garu.
Yeah,
I'll
thank you.
see you next week for more insights on a different subject.
Thank you, Shilpa. It was lovely talking to you always.
Thank you. I thank Vani Garu for taking out time and making this possible. Hope you all will implement these simple changes to save paper in your homes. Please do subscribe to my channel. Stay tuned for more updates. See you all next week. Signing off, Shilpa Reddy.